I don't know. After hearing him calm and talking about the tether story, it's probable.
Go down to the county attorney's office. I think you'll find a lot of humans down there.
All right.
No disrespect.
Stop driving.
Flirting with the judge in front of my dad.
Probation. What's going on? This is Colin. How's everyone doing? Happy Sunday. I've been messing with my green screen again. The settings are way off. My background's clear, but now I'm glitchy. I'll figure it out. Got some good ones for you today. My internet's not too great today, so I'm just doing a premiere instead of a live. But that usually means I don't stop it as much. So for everyone that says I talk too much, you're welcome. For everyone I see everyone talk, I'm sorry. All right. Let's start off with Judge Washington. She was not in a good mood last week. There was one specific day. I don't remember if it was Monday, Tuesday, maybe Wednesday. I don't know. One day last week, she just was not in a good mood. And we're going to see. We're going to see her in a rare state. But, yeah. So before I hit the play button, you already know what to do. Like and subscribe. Do your jump kick backflips. And as always, my link tree is in the description. Please and thank you. Also on that note, thank you, Fred, so much for your generous donation after the stream last night. Very generous, and I very much appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right, let's go.
Versus Donald Wright, case number 23 FB 1387.
Benjamin Duffy for the people.
Will you just talk without going on the Zoom?
No. Ms. Jordan, are you present?
Okay.
Yes, ma'am, Your Honor.
Please place your appearance on the record if you're handling this matter.
Good morning, Your Honor. Ashley Jordan requesting the practice under MCR 8.120 under the direct supervision of Sandra White.
All right, permission is granted. Mr. Wright, please state your name.
Donald Wright.
Thank you. Today's day and time scheduled for sentencing in this matter. Have you had an opportunity to review the pre-sentence investigation report with your client?
Yes, Your Honor. We have went over the pre-sentence investigation report. We do not have any deletions, additions, or corrections. Mr. Wright would just like to make a request when the time is right.
Thank you. Ms. McDuffie?
Your Honor, I also agree with the recommendation. I can appreciate that Mr. Wright, I'm sorry, am I pronouncing it correctly?
Right.
Sorry, right. I can appreciate that he actually appears to have more insight than the other party involved in this incident. And he appears to understand what he did and regret his actions. So I appreciate that from him. I'm encouraged that probation will be successful and that he'll be able to engage in that and take accountability for what happened and not repeat that behavior. So nothing further.
Thank you. Mr. Wright?
Yes.
Well, first of all, Ms. Jordan, anything else you want to say before I go to Mr. Wright?
I would just like to say that I appreciate Ms. McDuffie for realizing that Mr. Wright is taking accountability for his actions. He does realize what he did was wrong, and he does realize that that this process could be helpful in the end to him, and he appreciates that. So I thank Ms. Duffy for noticing that from Mr. Wright. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, Mr. Wright, you can say whatever you would like to say, sir.
Oh, I would just like to go home. I've been displaced from my apartment for 2 months now, and I've incurred about $1,200 worth of debt. And this really wasn't much more than a lover's quarrel.
Your Honor, I think he's speaking in regards to what we wanted to request later on when the time was right. Which is
You should do that before the sentencing, so now is the time.
okay. Thank you. Mr. Wright is housed with a past landlord, which I believe the complaining witness also has a house in that same apartment. Please correct me, Mr. Wright, if I'm getting it wrong. But they would like contact. Go ahead.
Yes.
Go. So that he can stay at his home.
Thank you. Mr. Wright, with
Yes.
respect to your home, please explain that. Is this an apartment? Do you live there? Do you share it? Are you both of your names on the lease? What's going on with it?
Ms. Kramer lives in the apartment next to me. I have her over for dinner 3 or 4 times a week.
Yes.
It was just an unfortunate argument that we got into over my sister's ashes. I've spent 8 days in jail. I've been displaced from my apartment with a GPS tether on for 2 months now. And I've also had to pay rent where I'm staying. So that it comes out to about $1,200.
All right. And you say it was just an argument. However, the report indicates that you drug her by her shirt and was choking her in the process, intentionally or unintentionally.
Yeah,
So it's more than an argument, sir.
Oh.
Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Wright has definitely expressed to me that he realized that I think that he just chose his words wrong at this current moment. But he realized that it was definitely more than an argument. We spoke this morning and he stated that to me.
Sir, are you clear? I'm actually talking to him now. This is sentencing, so I want to hear from him.
Thank you. No problem, Your Honor.
Sir, are you clear?
Yes.
You understand that that is more than an argument?
I didn't intend to hurt her in any way. I have deep feelings for her. And I just wanted her to leave my apartment. And so I grabbed her by the shirt to escort her out. And unfortunately, the collar of the shirt came up against her neck. But she has indicated.
Before you started talking, I had less concerns. Now I have more.
Why is
because
that?
the report indicates that you drug her through the apartment, like I just said.
No, not through the apartment, no.
Beth advised Don grabbed her shirt collar, pulled her to the ground, and dragged her across the entire apartment to the kitchen.
No, that's not correct. She was sitting on the floor when I grabbed her shirt. And I did pull her approximately 3 feet. And then I realized that the collar of her shirt came up against the other side of her neck. So I let the shirt go. And I sat down, she stood up, said a few choice words and walked out.
Don pulled her shirt so hard that a burn mark was visibly present at the time of the interview.
I didn't see any marks.
Well, there are pictures of the marks, sir.
Okay, I haven't seen them.
My concern here is that you don't fully understand the nature of your actions. That's always my concern. When people don't fully understand, then what happens is they repeat them.
I don't intend to repeat that.
I don't intend to
Your
repeat
statement
that.
was that you spent 8 days in jail and you haven't been able to go to your apartment, which is right next door to hers, for some individual who you think that you just had an argument with. That is very concerning. This is way more than an argument.
She's not wrong. He's minimalizing everything he did. This is where Judge Simpson would step in and say that exact thing. You are minimalizing what you did, and I'm not accepting this plea. It's exactly what he sounds like he's doing.
She has indicated that she would like to continue a relationship with me. and I would like to continue a relationship with her as well.
That wasn't the
This is an
question.
unfortunate situation.
Mr. Wright, do you get who gets to decide whether you continue your relationship with her?
Excuse me?
Do you understand who decides whether you can continue that relationship with her?
That would be her.
No, it's not. It's me. Right now, it's me.
Okay. I was just stating that she indicated to the person that I'm staying.
What you said.
Okay.
The question is whether you're understanding the position that you're in right now. And why you're there. That's the most important piece that you don't seem to understand.
I overreacted to the argument. She hit me with her elbow under my chin, and I let it go. And then she raised her hand to smack me, and that's when I just.
Excuse me, Mr. Wright. Remember, you told me that if you weren't drinking, that this wouldn't have happened, and that you realized that's what the court would like to know that.
Yes. Yes. If we weren't drinking, it wouldn't have happened, I'm sure. Yes.
Your Honor, can we approach, please? Because I apologize. I didn't realize that we had some results from the community corrections report that I needed to ask about as well. So we just quickly.
Yes, you may. Well, I don't know how it's not really possible.
I'll go back up there.
No, it's that we have Okay, we'll just put Davi in the breakout room to supervise her. I'm gonna ask, I'm sorry, I need everyone else to leave the courtroom while I have a private breakout session here. Mr. Martis, that includes you, sir. Everybody needs to leave at this time.
Okay,
I'll bring you
thank
back in when we're ready.
Okay.
All right. So this was, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes later. She actually ended her stream. The problem is there are people in person and on Zoom, and she couldn't do that. And the counsel couldn't approach while people were in the courtroom. So it created logistical problems. Now, if you ask me, that is what's going to kill the Zoom, or not the Zoom. Well, yeah, Zoom and YouTube streams. That's what's going to do it. Because that was frustrating for her. She was already having a frustrating day. Yeah. But this guy, this is why plea deals are sometimes difficult, when you have to admit what you did and then you don't think that you did really anything wrong and you just want to get it over with. He dragged a grown woman by her shirt. I don't care if it's 3 feet or 6 inches. All right, let's finish this clip. And then the next one's way worse, by the way. Next one's way worse. I did not come heavy with high, humor clips today.
Your Honor, we can't hear you. I'm sorry. I don't know if it's the right thing.
I'm so sorry. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. We're back on the record in the case of Donald Reich. I am going to impose sentence at this time, Mr. Reich. It's the sentence of the court that you serve 18 months on probation. Your probation officer is Annette Johnson. You are to serve 93 days in the Washington County Jail, credit for the 8 days that you served. The balance of that, a total of 85 days, are suspended. Fines and court costs in this particular case were a total of $525. That includes the state minimum cost and the victim's rights fee. There is also $30 per month in probation oversight fee. You're to meet with probation when and where directed, including any and all home visits, weekly phone reports, and probation group meetings. You're to attend and complete the ABR Domestic Violence Early Intervention Program and any other programs that they feel that you may need. You're to attend and complete the Community Corrections CCOP program. You're restricted from having any alcoholic beverages in your home. You're to submit to, pay, and be responsible for random drug and alcohol tests as requested by the court, probation, police officer, or any treatment provider. You're to provide monthly verification of compliance with all of these terms. You're to attend court reviews as ordered by the court and provide proof of compliance. You're to make earnest efforts to maintain legitimate employment. The GPS tether in this case may be removed. You're restrained from harassing, stalking, threatening, or engaging in any conduct that would place Beth Kramer in reasonable fear of bodily injury. There's no assaultive or threatening behavior towards her or anyone else, and no unwanted contact with her. So you may have contact again, and so the restrictions to going back home have been lifted. There's no use or possession of marijuana, medical or recreational, illegal drugs or drug paraphernalia, or any firearms, firearm components, ammunition, or other dangerous weapons, and no being in the company of anyone carrying those. I'm going to do a review in this case in 90 days. Sir, if there's any violation of this matter with you having any further unwanted contact or assaultive behavior towards her or anyone else, then I'm going to send you to jail. Do you understand?
Yes.
You need to contact the probation department. Did you write down the phone number when I gave it out earlier, sir?
I do not have a pen. I was told that I was going to see the probation officer after this meeting.
Okay, is that correct? Ms. Johnson, do you plan to see him right now? She's not. Oh, no, you're not even present, so that can't happen. Okay, all right. Sir, you need to go to the, we're gonna give you a notice with their new date on it. It'll have the phone number on there for you.
Your Honor, may I ask a question in regards to his fines and costs?
What is the question?
My client, he's dealing with a financial, he has a fixed income of $1,400 a month. So
$914.
$914 a month. I apologize. So I'm wondering if we
I
could
did see
waive.
that. No, I'm not waiving fines and costs. I will reduce them to $425.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Yes, you can bring him. And tell him that. Please don't leave until you get a notice, sir. No, he can.
All right. Yeah, that guy was a ball of joy, right? This next guy, a little bit of a trigger warning. His crimes are against children. So if you do have a sensitive stomach or you don't like hearing these kind of cases, you might want to leave. It's a little bit of a longer one. It's about a 20-minute clip, but this is the last clip. I only have 2 in this video. So if you haven't liked and subscribed already, please do so. I would very much appreciate it. Let's go.
Campaign can't be on. And I'm gonna get all this together. We call several cases numbered 23 CR 785 in numerical sequence through 794. So that's 10 cases, I believe.
That's correct.
The state of Texas versus Christopher Manuel. You are Mr. Manuel. Present with your attorney, Mr. Shalander, and the state's attorney. Earlier, the defendant entered pleas of guilty to 5 cases, 23 CR 785, 786, 787, 788, and 789. In the agreement that's been reached, if the court's agreement and follows the sentencing agreement, then 5 cases 790, 791, 792, 793, and 794 will be dismissed. Is that the master plan?
That is, sir.
All right. The agreement that has been reached is whatever sentence shall not exceed a cap of 8 years in prison. These are all 3rd-degree felonies. So in each of these cases, the defendant is looking at, under the law, it would be no less than 2 nor more than 10 years confinement. And he could be sentenced consecutively to each case under the law, under the agreement that has been fashioned by the parties. The sentences would run concurrently, and the sentence that the court sets in these cases cannot exceed 8 years in prison if the court follows this agreement. So let's look at our options. The defendant is looking at no less than 2 nor more than 8 years confinement. And deferred or unadjudicated probation is an option. He could be placed on deferred or unadjudicated probation up to 10 years in length. Each case. And then he could be placed on his regular probation, an option as well.
It is,
So the court could assess 2 to 8 years in prison in each of these cases, then suspend the sentence of confinement and place the defendant on regular probation for up to 10 years in length. All right. The court has received several letters on behalf of the defendant, and I've reviewed, made some notes here. Is there anything additionally the parties want me to consider before I ask you for your arguments in support of what you believe is appropriate?
Nothing further from the state.
Nothing other than our argument.
All right. Then, Mr. Schlander, on behalf of the defendant, go ahead.
We're asking the court to grant him probation. He was very cooperative with the police when they confronted him. He's accepted responsibility from the very beginning. He's never been in any kind of real trouble in the past. He had a long-time job at Lamar Institute of Technology or Lamar University in the maintenance department. Or in the warehouse. Though he's lost his job, really hadn't been able to get a job since then. He knows he can get a job, but he didn't want to try to get a job and leave somebody in a lurch with only working 2 or 3 months. So depending on what happens today. I know he's very remorseful for his actions. He knows he's disappointed a lot of people in his life. He knows what he's done is harmful to these victims. But I believe this gentleman successfully complete probation and ultimately end up being a productive and law-abiding citizen in the future.
State?
Your Honor,
He would like to say something too.
I'm gonna go to him last and let him, after he hears
Okay.
everybody, he can then correct or make a comment on what might be argued by the lawyers. Go ahead.
please the court,
Mhm.
counsel. Judge, on cases like this, I'm sure that the court knows and the state feels the same as the court. These are very serious, whether or not they're pornography that involves all the, victimization, even though they're not direct, they're still involved in that. They're very serious. And we take 10 that we choose, but there were obviously more, as you can read in the PSI, there were more images. We feel they're very serious, and we want to make sure that we identify those individuals who will get those images and will continue this. Therefore, if the court chooses to do probation, I understand that the criminal he does not have any criminal history other than small cases, the Class C traffic ticket misdemeanors. However, due to the nature of the offense, we ask that it be a straight probation, given that way that it will not be off his record should he complete a probation. We understand the benefit of having the full range of punishment with a deferred. However, in this case, it's more of a case of where we have a known sex offender that will be identified for the duration for as long as we can, because the importance of knowing where they are and what they're doing. So deferred to us would be a slap on the wrist in light of the circumstance.
Okay. I'm going to ask a rhetorical
Yes, sir.
question here. What type could you and can you envision or articulate a type of scenario or set of circumstances involving this type of crime, where the state would agree to deferred or unadjudicated probation?
Never,
That's the position of
that's
your
the
office.
position of my office and every prosecutor I know. And I mean, it would take the circumstances of.
Well, the law does allow that as an option.
It does,
right?
yeah.
Oh,
However,
okay.
but the state's job is protecting the community and protecting the future victims and all that. And therefore, and being a prosecutor of almost 18 years, prosecuting these kinds of crimes.
Yeah,
that's my
I'm just
opinion.
asking. The advocacy is imperative, but so in these type of cases, the district attorney's office, and I'm not condemning it in any way.
Yes,
Forecloses a legal option that the legislature has written of deferred or unadjudicated probation.
I would say
In all cases.
foreclosed, but
Well, that's what I'm
advocacy,
hearing.
you understand that, Judge, but due to the nature of the offense, and if you can read on the first page.
No, I'm just saying, what can you envision?
I can't envision
You can't
it,
even
Judge,
one.
and
Okay.
I would.
I'm not condemning that in any way.
I'll be candid to the court. I've never argued for deferred in any kind of case of this nature. Never.
Okay. Mr. Manuel, what about you? What would you like to say here, sir?
Your Honor, I'm very sorry that I committed this crime. I feel sorry about the victims that are involved in this kind of situation. I'm sorry that I put my loved ones through this. Changed my life because of this. If you give me a chance for probation, I will definitely try my best to be a good citizen, good person in society. I'll try to keep a job. I'll never ever do this ever again, because I have lost so much due to this crime.
Did you guys buy that? I didn't. He lost a lot. Poor him. I have no compassion for him. And that was not good. It was terrible. I'm sorry that you lost a lot. Judge Stevens is about to let us know what he thinks. It actually what he says might be at the end of the video. There's still a little bit of time left on this, so I don't know if it's now or in about 10 minutes he gives his dad's speech.
Have y'all, I know you've reviewed the pre-sentence report. How old of a man are you now, sir?
How old am I? I'm 43.
This pre-sentence report states that you have been using marijuana daily since 16 years of age.
Yes, Your Honor.
26 straight years daily, you have been smoking pot?
Yes, Your Honor. But I was quitting doing that now.
You think it's time?
Yes, sir.
Well, how can you be responsible when you're high? I mean, for a job or around people or behavior, or I mean, this I don't think I've seen as long a consistent use of someone who has never been in any been arrested before in your life, right? I don't see an arrest for anything. Is that true?
Back in 1999, yeah, I take your arrested for DUI. That
Where
was
in what county?
Jefferson.
What happened to the case?
I believe he was a juvenile, Your Honor, but he was under the age.
My parents paid a bond and never.
Oh, you're oh, I thought you'd been 17.
Like,
But I think well,
19.
when I say juvenile, I apologize. He was under the age of 21 with a DWI. That's the same thing. That's DWI.
Yeah, ain't the same thing.
I mean, it's not a juvenile thing. I understand.
It's not the same thing, I should say.
I apologize.
But I mean, but it begs the question, where or in the world are you getting marijuana daily? Don't look over to her. She doesn't know the answer. Over here, when somebody is asked a question that's like that, when you start looking over there, you're trying to figure out an answer that you think I might be able to accept that might be fabricated here. Look at me in the eye and tell me, where are you getting marijuana every day for the last 26 years?
I was getting from the streets. I was getting from the drug dealer.
But you're using it every day. For 20, that's right. Am I right about this?
Yes, sir.
Well, color me astonished. I don't think I've really, of all the cases I've handled, I don't think I've ever really witnessed something like this where they're not people who are in legal trouble daily. But then again, here you are with a crime that is a disturbing crime that so every day for the last 26 years, you've been committing an offense, a crime.
Yes, sir.
Nothing. I shouldn't be amazed sitting in this position because anything is possible, I guess. But this, you can't play Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I guess you can, but it's dancing on a razor blade. You can't say, I've got a family that I love and think of, and I've got a job that I am, that I need to keep, and I'm otherwise responsible. And then you are buying drugs every day, or you're using drugs every day, but you've been consistent for 26 years, which is a consistent crime of over 2 decades. And then you are obviously weak in your ability to refrain from harming children, which is what this is. You understand that any time pornography is distributed and used, it is further victimization of the child that's being portrayed. There And here you, it's, why would you do such a thing? Well, yeah, it's in there. I mean, it's self-gratification. You're self-gratifying yourself is the polite way to say what you're doing. You're sitting, you're whatever you're doing, standing, whatever it is. You're using the pornography of a child who's been victimized. The you were victimizing the child by sexually gratifying yourself using the child. The only thing worse than that is that the child is not present. If the child was present, of course, and being part of this, being present in body, of course, that would be even worse tragedy to the child. But it's almost the same thing. I mean, that's the way you think of children as a sex tool for your own personal gratification while you're smoking marijuana for 26 years. I think I've got that all. I think I've brought out all the disturbing circumstances of this. On the other side of the coin, you're Dr. Jekyll during the day. But at night you turn into Mr. Hyde. You can't be both. You can be, but who are you is the question. You write these letters to me about how wonderful a person you are. You really are, but you if we threw in buying marijuana, using marijuana, drugs, committing drug offenses for 26 straight years every day, and then using drugs to make bad decisions, I guess, to acquire child pornography and then sexually gratify yourself. That's just terrible. That's a completely different side. But that's what you are. I mean, you got to fix that. It's like the person that says, if I ask, show me your hand, and they go, here it is. I go, no, no, no. Now you see the hand. You don't see the hand by this. You've got to see both sides of the person. And sometimes it looks just like the same. But sometimes it's completely different. And that's where you are. All right. And acquiring the child pornography, how did you get that?
Off the internet.
Yeah, that's the internet can be a wonderful tool for good use. It can also be a terrible source of evil. But at the end of the day, you, like your attorney, like me, like the prosecutor, we have free will and we make choices every day. And you're going to be, you have to pay for the bad choices you make. But at any time during this, and how many years were you involved with the child pornography? I'm not clear about that.
Say about maybe 10 years, something like that.
10 years. You don't have any children, you're not married, right?
That's right, sir. No children, no married.
Okay, but you have, I guess, nephews or nieces?
I have no niece.
Okay. These children that you were victimizing by the pornography, did you ever see that in the eyes of your nephews or nieces? Well, I mean, you can't, how can you separate that? They're little children, and how can you not have bad thoughts and evil intentions around your nephews and nieces if you're going to victimize little children for a decade? What'd you say, decade, 2 decades?
You said 10 years ago.
10 years. I mean, how do you separate that? You can't, can you?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't, would never.
They're little children. I mean, they're little children you're not related to. You're treating them when you have the opportunity as a sex toy, as a sex tool. I'm going to take just a moment to talk to the lawyers in the back there, okay? So we're going to take just a couple of minutes and we'll be back. Just have a seat, sir. And to add here.
All right. It's about 5 minutes left. I'm going to let the rest of it play out. My internet's not good today, Sunday afternoon. I'm guessing just the entire complex is on the internet right now. I don't know. That's why I haven't been on camera. You can see I got my game day background right now. That picture was from last year. It was a good picture. And it's pretty much how Bengals fans feel right now. Not necessarily the Steelers, just to the NFL right now. Because, Burrow going down, all of us are sad. So yeah, we act out with middle fingers. Anyways, this case is horrible. And I like Judge Stevens. I don't like his stance on marijuana, though. I also don't like that the defendant tried to use that as an excuse. He used it every day for over 20 years, so that's an excuse. I'm glad Judge Stevens saw through that. All right. We're going to finish up. So if you haven't done it already, please like and subscribe. Flips, and if you would like to donate, I'd very much appreciate it. Link tree is down in the description. Please and thank you. All right. Until next time. Bye. I just went to unpause the video and I just rewound it.
If you're going to victimize little children for a decade. What'd you say, decade, 2 decades?
You said 10 years ago.
10 years. I mean, how do you separate that? You can't, can you?
Yeah, I mean, I just don't, would never.
They're little children. I mean, they're little children you're not related to. You're treating them when you have the opportunity as a sex toy, as a sex tool. I'm going to take just a moment to talk to the lawyers in the back there, okay? So we're going to take just a couple of minutes.
All right, now we're back up.
Just have a seat, sir. And
sorry about that, guys.
To add here.
No, you're wrong.
No.
All right. If nothing further on each of these cases, Mr. Manuel. Again, these are cause numbers 23, 785, 786, 787, 788, and 789. I'm going to find that you have pleaded guilty in these cases voluntarily. You are mentally competent to do so. You understand and appreciate the consequences of pleading guilty. There's sufficient evidence supporting these guilty pleas from State's Exhibit 1 admitted in the plea hearing earlier. to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in each of these cases. I now find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt in each of these cases. I'm following this agreement. You are hereby sentenced to confinement in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice to serve a term of 8 years on each of these cases, which will run concurrently. Now, your attorney is going to have a chance to talk to you about the future. There are requirements. You must fill out the sex offender registration material. Have you done that?
Yes.
Okay.
Got it over here.
You've got that? Okay. Under Texas law, for anyone such as you here in this case, who has been convicted under these offenses under section 43.26 of the Texas Penal Code, illegal possession or promotion of child pornography, you are required to register in the sex offender registration program. And failure to do so is a criminal offense that can result in prosecution. If you move to another state that has similar reporting requirements for sex offenders, you must register in that state. Failing to register can result in you being charged with criminal offense or offenses. Do you understand your requirements there, sir? All right. Anything else to add by the parties?
Your Honor, the state will dismiss as part of the plea agreement, the remaining 5 cases.
The other cases as part of this agreement will be dismissed. Again, to underline this court, and I think any court, under circumstances like this, where you have a decade of has years and years of consistent daily use, illegal use of child pornography. And then you're coupling that with a consistent decade longer use daily of marijuana. And then you're using this child pornography not only to view it, but to sexually gratify yourself. Each time that happens, sir, a child is further victimized, a child. And no decent human being can think that that isn't one of the most horrible consequences and circumstances that can occur. So this court and other courts, I believe, who are decent minded and follow the law, are going to treat these crimes in most serious fashion. I just can't imagine harming a child, especially in this way over years and years and years. So the court's sentence is a serious sentence, but it is what this court finds that is just under these circumstances. Do you understand what has happened today, sir?
Yes, sir.
I'm going to give before you're going to be taken into custody immediately. Mr. Shalander needs to talk to you about a couple of things at post-sentence matters. Otherwise, is there anything else in this case?
No.
I will be signing those dismissals. And so we are in recess on Mr. Manuel's case.
Thank you.
All right, I have